This is a story from 1001 Nights, and it's the story of the Fisherman and the Genie, and this is how I will tell it to you. Once there was a poor fisherman who found his net was emptier and emptier with each trip out onto the lake. His catch was smaller and smaller, and he was getting desperate. And one day he went out onto the lake in his little boat. He took his net and he threw his net down into the water, and he pulled it from the waters of the lake, and he looked into the net, and there was nothing. So, ever hopeful, he tried again. He threw his net into the waters of the lake, he pulled back the net into his boat and looked into the net, and it was empty. But always try 3 times. If you're going to try anything, try it 3 times. So he threw his net once more into the lake, and when he pulled it back, it felt heavy. It felt as if there was something in there more substantial than water. And he pulled his net into his boat, and with a clunk, it landed. And in his net was caught a bottle, a large bottle with a firmly fitted stopper. Now, of course, anyone would want to know what's inside the bottle. It could be a message from somebody. So the fisherman pulled at the stopper. He pulled once. No. He pulled twice. No. He pulled 3 times, and the top came out of the bottle, and his boat started to fill with a sickly green smoke, which, as it cleared, left standing in front of him a genie. A genie from a bottle, and you and I know what a genie from a bottle means. And the fisherman looked up at the genie and said, "Oh, genie, I've let you free from the bottle. What will you give me?" And the genie looked down at the fisherman and said, "Oh man, I will give you death." The fisherman was a little surprised by this, and he said, "Death? But I've just saved you from a bottle. It's traditional to give me a wish." And the genie said, "Oh, when I was trapped into the bottle, I swore that I would give whoever released me a wish. And I swore that for 300 years. But then, after 300 years, my patience had worn thin, so I swore whoever released me from the bottle to pay for waiting more than 300 years would be transported to the ends of the earth. And I swore this for 300 years. But after 600 years in the bottle, I made a new promise. I promised that whoever released me from the bottle would die. So prepare, oh man, for 300 years I have sworn that whoever releases me will die. Choose the method of your dying." The fisherman didn't know what to say. He said, "Well, how can I choose so quickly how to die? I mean, there are so many ways to die, and genie, I don't know what your powers are. I mean, could you fly up in the air and drop me so that I break into 1,000 pieces on jagged rocks?" And with that question, the genie lifted up from the boat and flew above the fisherman and looked down at him and said, "Here, O mortal man, see me fly in the air. Oh yes, I could lift you up and drop you so that you smash into 1,000 pieces on the jagged rocks beneath." And then he landed back in the boat. And the fisherman said, "Well, that's one way to go. What about, well, you are a genie and you are quite large, but I wonder, could you squash me under your foot? I mean, you're not really big enough to squash me under your foot." And as he asked that question, the genie got bigger and bigger and bigger until he filled the eye line of the fisherman. All he could see was a genie the size of a mountain, and the genie bellowed, "Here, O man! Here, O mortal! See me! I can crush you under my heel!" And then he returned to his normal size, and the fisherman said to the genie, "Oh, that is amazing! But which way to go? I could be dropped, I could be squashed. You are a powerful genie indeed. Well, quite a powerful genie." And the genie looked at him and said, "What do you mean, quite powerful?" And the fisherman said, "Well, you have shown me that you can fly. You have shown me that you can become the size of a mountain. But if you were truly powerful, you would be able to make yourself small enough so that you could fly into my ear and buzz around inside my head and bite my brain with poisonous fangs." And the genie looked at him and said, "Of course I can make myself..." But the fisherman continued, "But you seemed to have come from that bottle, which makes me think I must have been mistaken. I mean, a genie with your power, a genie of your size could never get in that bottle, let alone make themselves small enough as a fly to fly into my ear and to bite with poison fangs into my brain." And the genie said, "Of course I can make myself small." "Well, prove it," said the fisherman, "prove it. Go back in the bottle and show me how small you can be." So, as the fisherman watched, a cloud of green smoke once more enveloped the genie, and then the genie disappeared in the smoke, and the smoke disappeared into the bottle, and the moment it was back in the bottle, the fisherman put the top back on the bottle and sealed the genie inside. "Let me out," said the genie. "Oh no," said the fisherman. "You said that you were going to drop me from the sky, or crush me under your heel, or fly into my ear and poison my brain with your little fangs. Oh no, I will not let you free until you promise me something." And the genie said, "I promise I will do anything, by the prophet." "By the prophet?" said the fisherman. "By the prophet," said the genie. "Then by the prophet, when you come out of the bottle, you must swear not to hurt me and to give me riches." "I swear," said the genie, "I swear by the prophet." So the fisherman carefully removed the top from the bottle, and once more the green smoke filled his boat, and from the green smoke came the genie. And the genie said, "Now, O mortal man, prepare to..." And the fisherman said, "No, you swore by the prophet you would not hurt me and you would give me riches." "Very well," said the genie. "Then cast your net into the lake once more." And the fisherman said, "I've tried that. My catches are getting smaller and smaller. There is nothing there." But the genie said, "I swore I would give you riches. Cast your net into the lake 3 times, and you will be wealthier than you could ever have imagined." And with that, the genie flew up into the air and was gone. The fisherman did as he was told. He took his net and he cast it into the lake. And thinking that nothing would come of nothing, he pulled the net back into the boat. And as he pulled the net into the boat, he saw there was a fish, a great fish whose scales shone like diamonds flashing in midday sunlight. And he dropped the fish into his boat. And then he cast his net once more. And as he pulled the net into the boat, it felt heavy. And as he pulled the net into the boat, he saw there was a great fish, another great fish, this time shining as blue as sapphire. He dropped the fish into his boat. He cast his net once more, and this time when he pulled it in, there was a third great fish, and this time as red as blood-red rubies. And he dropped the fish into his boat. And he sailed back to the land. And he didn't know what to do. I mean, there's not much eating on these fish to make him the richest man that he could ever imagine to be. So he took the fish to the caliph. and presented them to the caliph, and presented them with his story of the genie. And the caliph was so pleased to hear the story, was so happy to receive the fish, the one that shone like diamonds in the noonday sun, the one as blue as sapphire and the one as red as blood-red rubies, that he told his guards to take the fisherman to the treasury and to fill the fisherman's net with as much gold and treasure as it could hold. And so the poor fisherman went home, and he did have riches beyond his imagination, and for all I know, he lived happily ever after.